It's the Halloween night edition of Weather for Weather Geeks. We're in the waning hours of the month of October, of course, here on this Halloween evening, and it's always a good time to kind of look back and see how the month went. And what a shock! It was a warmer than average month. We've only had one cooler than average month this year. That was back in April. Every other month this year has been warmer than average in Youngstown. It was very consistently warm earlier on in the month. Notice the increase in blue boxes towards the latter third of the month. We've had cooler than average days frequently since the pattern changed right around the 20th into the 21st, but that was not enough to erase the big time above average trend for the month. All right, quick look back at some Halloween facts in the record books here in Youngstown. The warmest back in 1935, it was 78. A lot of people remember 1993. We had 5 inches of snow. The high was 35 on Halloween. Ugh. And, today was a dry day. And it was our first completely dry Halloween calendar day in a while. Looking back over the last 5 years, we've had measurable precipitation each and every year. So it was a cool day today. We only did 51 at the airport this afternoon, about 5 degrees shy of average. It's 55 in Cleveland, 52 in Pittsburgh. All right, let's head into the future now and talk about the big warm-up that's coming. On Tuesday, warm front lifts off to the north. Temperatures will actually start to rise later tonight. And then a nice south to southwest flow developing. We'll have a decent amount of sunshine. We'll call it partly sunny on Tuesday. Boy, it's going to be a nice day. We'll get up to about 70 Tuesday afternoon. And if you think that's warm, wait till Wednesday. I think we've got a shot at 74 or 75 degrees on Wednesday. And this next system, with the warm front, the precipitation stays to our north on Wednesday. So we're going to be dry tomorrow evening, and if there's a Game 7 in Cleveland, I think we're dry Wednesday evening as well. The rain holds off until late Wednesday night, and it will rain Thursday, particularly in the morning and the midday hours. Let's talk about Game 6 in Cleveland, Tuesday evening. Temperatures very balmy for Cleveland on November 1st. Can you believe this? Middle and upper 60s all evening. So hopefully the Indians will take care of business in Game 6. We won't have to worry about Game 7, but Game 6, very, very balmy. All right, 2016-2017 winter forecast. We're going to do it on Thursday on TV. I may do it for the Weather Geeks here online Wednesday evening. Not sure about that yet. But certainly on TV and perhaps online, we will definitely get it to you on Thursday. The winter of 2016-2017 promises to be quite a bit different than last year. Now, does that mean it's going to be a horrible winter like we had a couple of years ago? No, it doesn't mean that. It just means it's going to be a lot different than last year, which was remarkably warm. You may or may not be familiar with how we do this. The snarky folks out there like to say, weather people, they can't get tomorrow right. How are they going to get the winter right? Well, it's not the same kind of forecasting. There's a big difference between forecasting if it's going to rain tomorrow or not, or forecasting temperature trends on the timescale of months or seasons. It's not the same thing. And there is skill in this. Now, is there as much skill as my high temperature forecast for tomorrow? No, absolutely not. But there is skill in this, and we've had good success with the general trends in the winter forecast each of the last few years. How do we come up with the winter forecast? How in the world do you tell how it's going to be 2 or 3 months from now as far as general trends? There's a few elements to the old secret sauce here. One of the things we do is we look back at what we call analogs. These are years in which things going on in the oceans and in the atmosphere are pretty similar to the current situation. So we look at the ocean water temperatures in the Pacific and the Atlantic. What years, because we have good records on this, what years were similar? There's a big correlation between what's going on in the oceans and what happens in the atmosphere. So we look back through history and try to find years that are similar to this. What happened those years? Was it a cold winter? Was it a warm winter? That sort of thing. We also look at the computer models. When we talk about trends in the 1 to 3 month time scale, can be useful, but a lot of times they're pretty far off. And the third thing, experience and intuition. You do this for a while and you just sort of get to know the tricks of the trade. All right, La Nina, cooling of the equatorial Pacific waters. Last year we had a really strong El Nino. This year we don't have a strong anything. We have a weak La Nina. Typically, not always, but typically, in a La Nina winter, this is the precipitation breakdown across the country. You've got a split jet stream with the Pacific jet driving some moisture into the Pacific Northwest, but keeping the Southwest dry. And then you have the polar jet up here, which tends to make a storm track go through parts of the Great Lakes, the Ohio Valley, and the Northeast. That leads to typically above average precipitation in La Nina years across parts of the Midwest. Not always, though. So just a couple of things we'll be talking about when we show you the winter forecast coming up on Thursday. La Nina, it's weak, and that's a big ingredient into formulating the winter forecast. Back here in the short term, I want to talk about the next 2 weeks quickly, because while we do expect a pattern change during the second half of November, the first half of November, while there's going to be some chilly days, largely pretty warm. All this warmth over the next couple of days in the orange and red colors across the eastern U.S. We do have a cool down coming at the end of this week behind that Thursday front. Here's a look at Thursday into Friday. Notice the blue colors across the region. It's cooling down. We'll be back in the 50s. And as we go into next week, look at the heat out across the middle of the country and up into Canada. Now, we're not going to be under this heat dome, but we'll be on the fringes of it, so it's not a chilly pattern here for early next week. It's not a super warm pattern like it's going to be tomorrow and Wednesday, but it's also, by November standards, not bad at all next week. This is the 7th and 8th of the month, all the warm anomalies still over the east. As we go towards the kind of middle of the month, here's the 10th, 11th, a lot of warm air, Alaska, Canada, southern tier of Canada, not a lot of Arctic intrusions being advertised by the modeling. Notice it turns a little cooler here, it looks like, right around the weekend of the 12th and 13th. But this takes us out through the 15th, and the moral of the story here is the first half of the month, any cold is transient. It comes for a day or two, and then it goes, and then we get back to average, maybe even above average. But there isn't anything in the modeling during the first half of November that shows a big cold snap. Now, there are a lot of indications in the modeling that the second half of November and into December could be a different story. We might have more consistent cold getting involved in the pattern. It might be a stormier pattern, and that'll be a big part of our winter forecast as well. Last December was the warmest December on record in Youngstown. This December will not be. Now, does that mean it's going to be horrible? Not necessarily, but it's on the table that December is a pretty cold and stormy month for us this year. Much more on Thursday. In the meantime, have a great Monday night. I'll see you back here for more Weather Geeks on Tuesday.